Hey, everybody, this is Mike Felbauer coming to you from the Flag the Voice podcast studios, being powered by the U.S. News and Entertainment Network. And today in our studio and in this new podcast series called Faith Freedom Stories, I have a friend of mine. His name is Derek. I call him DJ. And we've known each other for a couple of years, and I think this young man has quite a story to tell. And I'm going to switch over and say, Derek, you're on.
Hey guys, my name is Derek Mead, 43 years old from the island of Guam. I come from a Catholic-based home. Growing up my entire life, we went to church. My grandmother said the rosary. She said her 5 a.m. prayer. She prayed all day, every day. And it's strong. Our religion was strong. I've always had God in my life, and I think it came from that. Doesn't mean that because I always had God in my life, I've always done everything right like I was supposed to. Everybody, it's a life. Everybody gets led astray just to come back to God and form that bond. But I'll be honest with you, and that culture, that religion was instilled in almost everybody on my island. When Columbus came, that was how our religion came about too as well. So I guess I would say where I really found Jesus and God the most was I was deployed to Iraq, my first year in Iraq. Oh boy. I was looking for a church to go to, and there wasn't any. So I ran into a pastor, that was in the army, and I was like, "Hey, sir, is there any place I can pray to the Lord? Is there any place around here?" He goes, "Let me tell you something, son." He was like, "Right now we're in a combat zone, and I'm here to help all of you guys. You do not need to go to an establishment to pray to the Lord. We don't have one here." So, and he spoke to me more about the things to pray for and what to look for too, when seeking him out. And one thing I found out was that, on my cot in my tent, the Lord was with me. How many times I counted mortars coming in. Luckily, they didn't know how to aim for us, but they were coming pretty close. My cot shaking, all that. This is my third week in, and I'm like, I have a whole year of this to go. I need him. I don't know if I'm going to go back home. I don't know if I'm going to get out of here alive. And in that moment, it was kind of weird because I was like, I would pray and people were like, it's like, you're very religious, huh? Like it was a big deal. But I'll be honest with you, after some time, I got some people to have the Bible too, because things were getting a little rough and guys started, feeling like, hey man, I might need to search for him too as well, because I'm feeling a rough time as well. So fast forward, I've always found that it didn't matter if I didn't go to church. It didn't matter if I didn't go to, if anybody went to a mosque. God doesn't need you to go there, He just wants you to build that relationship with him. Yep. He's always going to be there for you, even when you think he's not there. And I'm going to tell you, I have many stories to tell you where I went down this path, thinking I was invincible, being 20 some years old, 30 some years old, surviving 2 years, almost 3 years of wartime environment. Like I came back with all my limbs, I'm golden. Brings me to my story of I got in trouble. I got in trouble helping somebody out, which landed me in court, which landed me in a rough situation. I was about to lose my VA pension. I was about to lose, I could have lost my kids. I could have went to jail, and just overall, with that being said, I had to dig down deep and search for him again. It's not that I didn't have him. It was just that for a long period of time, I felt invincible. And I started noticing, like, why am I only coming to him when I'm in trouble? And wondering why he's not helping me out when I'm seeking him. And it dawned on me, you have to figure out yourself what you need to do. And he will be there with you, guiding you along the way. You know, you have to figure out yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, where you're at, and not lose yourself. You know, you regain that relationship with God. And I'll guarantee you, if you do and you stay consistent, things will work out for you. You know, take your time, relax, because you'll miss some of the most simplest things in life. You know, they'll go over your head, you know, just like spending time with your kids, spending time with your loved ones. You know, I lost my mom almost 2 years ago. And I'll be honest with you, I spent my time with my mom the best I could. And I think there was times where I could have been a better son. But I got better. And like a year before my mom died, she actually told me, I'm very proud of you. I'm proud that you got your life straight. You're going back to college. You know, you're getting your degree. You're here for the kids. You know, I'm very proud of you. And with that, it also boosted me up because I knew with just that being told by my mom, she was proud of me because I was following the Lord in what I thought he wanted me to do, which was that, you know, honor thy father and mother, make my mom and dad proud, make them happy, you know, be the example for your kids because they'll follow your lead, you know, and that's what I wanted to be. So going to drug court, it was tough, but I'll be honest with you, I met a lot of good people. I met you, Mr. DeGardi, Miss McKinney, you know, Miss Lee, and you guys were great support, you know, the Hope Foundation, encouraging people to read the Bible, you know, when we did our Monday meetings, and seeking out the Lord, you know, I've met a lot of people that would tell me I was an atheist for a long period of time, which is why they went to drug abuse, alcohol, you know, all that type of stuff. They didn't believe in a God. They didn't believe in life after death. And God gives you a glimpse through your life what death can be. I've died many times. I'll be honest with you. I've died many times. I recollected myself many times. And every time I did, I got better. But the one problem that I found was after I got better, I went back to my old ways, my old habits of thinking, you know, and that wasn't God. That was, to me, the devil in my head trying to stray me away from God. And I was like, no, not this time. I got married. You know, I met my wife. I got married. Both my kids, both my two daughters are A students, you know, and they're very helpful. Hey, Papa, you okay? You know, my dad's, yeah, I'm okay, honey. You know, that, okay, just want to make sure you're okay, you know. And then I have my wife's two sons that I felt needed me to be in their lives too as well. So everything I was doing led me to understand that this is where I needed to be. This is where God wanted me to be. My wife needed help, you know, needed a husband, a partner, someone to help raise the kids, raise them well. I needed a wife to help me with my daughters too as well. Because I'll be honest with you, raising two daughters, the only thing I can think about is like, you're getting close to being 16, 18 years old. What am I going to do? You know? And I was like, my wife's like, I will be here to help them get along their women issues. You know, I'll be here to help you understand, like, you can't be controlling. You got to allow them to experience their own life and learn from their mistakes. You know, mind you, we will direct them accordingly to not make those big mistakes. But in that time, I got closer to God because I seek a lot of solitude in the back of my house. And in the back of my house is nothing but trees and flowers and everything. So in the back of my house is a porch. And I sit there and I feel radiant energy. 7 in the morning, sun's beaming down, having my coffee, just me and my dog. I see a bunch of butterflies, a bunch of animals, and my mom loved butterflies. So it was a time where they had a bunch of butterflies just coming into my porch. And I'm like, it's weird. Call my wife out. Oh, that's beautiful. Dawned on me. That's my mom saying, hey, I'm okay. I love you. I'm watching over you. And try not to cry. But my mom instilled a lot of good things, and some of the things that brought me back to the Lord was also living accordingly. Like I teach my 2 sons, honor your father and mother. And I don't mean honor them like praise them. We're the ones, it's a commandment, one of the commandments from the Bible. You honor thy father and mother, because we will teach you where you need to be, where you can live freely accordingly on God's terms, on where you're supposed to be. So, yeah, I'm living proof that, and it doesn't matter what drugs you're on, because alcohol is considered a drug. It's a stimulant. Coming back from the war, I was there. It was the only way I could take care of my demons, take care of my demons, because nobody understood the things I was going through. They're like, oh, you're just being stupid. You're being, you're being selfish. You're being this. I'm like, man, if you only understood what I went through out there, it's my personal demons that I'm dealing with. So I like to be in solitude because I can't explain that to everybody, except for my wife. My wife was able to sit there and not just be like, oh, you're selfish, and walk out. My wife was like, well, you're entitled to feel that way. And it's good for you to cry it out. And, we create this persona of always wanting to be macho and wanting to be, a man, a tough guy. Shoot, I was a tough guy all my life, and I'll be honest with you, when I finally took the grasp of actually building my relationship with Jesus and God, because I'll be honest, like I said, being Catholic, it was instilled in my heart. I knew everything I needed to do accordingly. But my personal relationship with him, my personal, in my head, in my heart, grew. It grew because I got to sit with myself, with my thoughts, and analyze what I was feeling, going through, and it wasn't anybody else's to deal with. I'll be honest with you, I took out some of my anger on some of the people that I loved the most. To the point where they would run away, and I was like, damn, I felt like an a-hole, But I think that most people just need to open that door, open their hearts to understanding, being a good person, being there for other people, showing compassion, showing sympathy, showing love, showing care will actually take you to a higher level, of consciousness, awareness of where you need to be at in life. Because who's to say a doctor's like the main guy that can fix all your problems? He's just a diagnosis, So with that being said, I think that finding yourself and curating or cultivating a relationship with God is needed, much so for yourself. Because if you can do that for yourself, you can spread love, you can spread compassion. Otherwise, you're only going to do it till you lose your mind, until it stresses you out, until you no longer want to give it. You got to want to give it. It's got to be from the heart, because that way it's easier. It's easier. Instead of like, I'm giving you this, when am I going to receive something back from you? Which is a lot of people's mistake. Everything's conditional. God loved us unconditional. My mom loved me unconditionally. No matter what I did, my mom loved me. My mom was an angel. They always take the best ones first, man. I'll be honest with you. My mom was an angel, and she led that example for me to be like, man, this lady was there for everybody till the day she died. And here I am being selfish in my ways, worrying about what I'm going through, knowing that I got other people that rely on me. And that's where the relationship with God and Jesus and you will strengthen you, will give you the patience you need. And I think that's what God taught me. I think, I'll be honest, when I first married my wife, blending kids, it was tough. It was like, how? Because she comes from a different background than I did, my family is like this, most families out here are separate. And I think that I was brought here to be in her life to give her that and give her kids that. At the same time, I was like, why are you punishing me? It wasn't punishment. It was for you to learn patience. It was for you to learn how to teach them guidance. It wasn't for you to lose your mind and say, I don't want to deal with you no more. That's the devil putting all that on you. I'm trying to give you something that is a living legacy for these kids, something to teach them and build up with them, with your wife, build a home, and everybody will start following with you. Me and my wife have a really good relationship, and the boys see that, the girls see that. So now the boys are like, I love you, Mom. Hug them, my daughters too. And I think if you set the example for your kids, they'll follow. If you have a hectic household, a crazy environment, kids will learn off of that and they'll live their life like that. And I think most people do. And when they finally find the Lord, they find God, they can step back a little and breathe. Because I'll be honest with me, it was like panic attack. Like, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, I need to go. But that's running away from things that you should deal with. Because life's full of problems. And I think that's where my rebuilt relationship with God got strengthened. Because I actually took the time to sit down with myself and be like, what are you trying to teach me here? I could have left. I could have been selfish and be like, I don't want to deal with this. I want to be stress-free. But what am I leaving back? You're on this life for a purpose. If my purpose is just to drink alcohol all day and, not do anything for anybody and just be in myself and be selfish, I'll be lost till I'm 70 by myself. Because nobody wants to be around anybody like that.
I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, run to the roar. Okay. And it was explained to me once years and years ago that when you're in the jungle and you hear that lion roaring, okay, the male is mostly the one that's doing all the roaring, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what they want you to do is go the other way. Why? Because the female was the better hunter. And if you're running away from the roar, you're running into
the hunter. Yeah.
Becoming dinner.
Right.
Okay? Run to the roar.
Yeah.
Okay? And so we go forward. We move forward on that kind of stuff.
Right.
And your conversation here and your insight and understanding that you keep learning from your experiences.
Yeah.
Okay? And you're moving forward. You're constantly moving forward. We talk while you were in the drug court program, and that's not what this podcast is about, but we look forward. Every once in a while, we'll look back just to protect us from not getting rear-ended. But we've got to keep looking forward because that's the direction that the Lord wants us going in.
Right.
He wants us to keep moving that way. Everything you expressed today and the different things that you're doing, if you read Scripture and want to understand it and the guidance that it's giving you, it's all there.
Right. It's your life. It's a life book. I'm not talking
about the laws and the rules. I'm talking about the guidance
that
Scripture can give you. so you can be successful no matter what you do.
Right.
So it's been a real pleasure to have you back here.
Thank you. Can I just put one thing out?
You can put two things out if you want. We got some time. We're not running out, but if you're done, you're done. If you're not, keep going.
Just a personal message to those out there that are trying to find themselves. You will see that if you actually take those steps forward, everything that you are doing in your life right now, you are causing stress to yourself. You think you got to do this, you got to do this, especially if you're not mentally there in your head. Everything is selfish. And people outside of that will see it. And it's on you to figure it out. You can go to so many, the help is there to guide you. Just like Drug Court or any other program. It's on you after that to stay consistent. Because I'll be honest with you, there's people that come into these programs, rehabs or whatever, they might want it. A lot of them might want it, but they don't want to do the full work. And it causes them to have resentment of being there. So it's like, I'm going to do what I have to do when I get out. I'm going to go back to my old ways. Wrong idea. Wrong idea. You got to dig deep and stop being a baby and understand that life will be a lot better if you took your time and you weren't always rushing, being self-centered, and, apply yourself accordingly to, be a part of the community, find your purpose in life. That's where a lot of people are struggling because they don't know what their purpose is in life. They want to feed their body with something to take their mind off of the stresses that they're going through. And you need to go through that. Like I said, I ran through the fire many times, and I think all those times that I ran through the fire and I found myself back into the same place was because I never learned my lessons. And I think I knew them, but I was lazy at fulfilling them. And as you get older and you mature a lot, more, and you take your time and you draw back from always rushing and doing things, you'll see the things that you need to do. How you can, if your mind's sporadic and you're all over the place, you're not going to get one thing done. You might get half of 10 things done, but you won't get one thing done. And my dad always tell me, take your time, relax. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it over again. Take your time, do it right the first time, and you won't have to worry about it later. That's all I have to say.
Well, all you had to say was great.
Yeah.
And it's again, I'll say I'm really happy that you were able to come in today, and I was really happy because we haven't been able to see each other in quite a while because you have been really busy starting a new business with your wife. Your all the kids that you're dealing with,
your dad,
and what you went through with the loss. I know how close you were to your mom, and I know that's a tough thing to talk about. But you've shown that the seeds that were planted by your mom, maybe your grandparents too, they're growing now.
My dad, yeah.
And we talk to a lot of people that come on and do these testimonies and things and talk about oh man, I think back, when that person talked to me about the Lord and whatever, those seed planters. Now, some of us need a whole lot. I mentioned to another gentleman, some of us need a whole lot more water before it starts to grow. But get watered. And the other thing you talked about, which is extremely important, is that we have to understand and learn what the gifts that God has given us to use and how to put that into the calling that he's called us to do.
All right.
Okay? If we all use our gifts in the callings that we are being prepped for by God, it's going to make a whole different world.
Yeah.
For us personally and for those around us.
Right.
And I think you are a prime example in doing that.
Thank
you. I
you.
appreciate, I am so happy to have known you and keep to know you, even though we don't get together like we used to. So everybody, again, this is Mike coming to you from the Flag the Voice podcast studio here in Palm Coast on our new podcast called Faith, Freedom, Stories. If any of you out there feel that you'd like to come on and talk about your personal testimony, we'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 401-864-6997, or you can reach me at flaglervoice@gmail.com. So everybody, have a great day. Look forward to seeing you again.
Adios.
Adios.